Question everything, for the truth should not be televised, and that's for sure. So with that, just walking around, our communities like always, and just looking at the infrastructure of the communities and stuff, and the destruction of not having economic growth or resources show you all the time. Walk by plenty of abandoned buildings everywhere you go in our community. It has nothing to do with gang banging or street crime or drug dealing, anything like that. It got something to do with resources. That's why buildings like this end up the way they are, with nobody occupying them, because nobody can afford it. And if nobody can, then you're going to have abandoned buildings and abandoned stores, abandoned houses everywhere you go. That's just the reality to it. There's no other outcome of the state, the federal government, the United States government not giving any type of resources to your community. And then in turn, your community is being starved out. And that's just the reality to it. So as you turn, see, it's just businesses closed down all the time, everywhere you go, based off of just no resources. It's just what it is. Churches that done went abandoned because whatever reasons, but still go back to no resources. I mean, growth, no real opportunity. So that's the reality of being starved out economically. And in that, it breeds crime. So you'll police everywhere you go, like the car in front of me, as we walk by another abandoned building, in the sense of no economic growth. They go to police officers to make sure that, they can capitalize on you not having nothing in the community based off of you trying to do survival work, so they ain't gotta lock you up. But you see, more abandoned buildings everywhere you go. Just nothing happening. Across the street, all sorts of signs on it, but no action, no business. Same thing here. As you walk by, more abandoned. Right there behind it, same thing, more abandoned. The reality of living in our communities. And it's not our fault. We can't blame ourselves for not getting resources allocated to our communities based off of our appointed representatives who don't see or play or take a blind eye to this truth. Because it's a truth that we all know about. We all live in it. But in turn, your votes ain't getting nothing done for it. Ain't nobody's coming out to support you in that fashion. It's just what it is. And what is that? Trying to bring resources to our community. Everywhere you go. Same thing. Across the street, right there behind the car, abandoned house. See, but then it's up for grabs when you let millions of Latinos in the community, because now you got all these infrastructures there in between all the trees, another house, abandoned. Now you got Latinos coming to the country, and you can get them economic growth in the form of resources, in the form of grants, loans, and cash cards, and so on. And guess what? Let them into our community, and they got all sorts of properties and stuff that's just sitting around without nobody to be able to afford them. Now they can afford them because they get in what? Stimulus packages from the federal government and the state and sanctuary cities and the United States government to be able to fund themselves in our community, whereas we've been in the communities forever and we get no funding. Same thing. Abandoned. You growing up in all this, you walking around as a child and you see these abandoned buildings and you feel like there's no hope, no opportunity. You already impoverished, probably in a one parent household, mother or father struggling or both struggling, and you don't see no future. Now you outside and you're walking around abandoned buildings, and they look ugly in your community. And before you know it, because of how you feeling inside based off of how things look around you, you start to feel ugly inside, and then that ugliness start to be internalized. And guess what? Now you're starting to walk around looking like they're being in the building. You upset. You mad walking around like this. And before you know it, You starting to look at other people like this, and guess what? Those same people growing up in that same community, and now guess what? What they doing? They looking at you like this. And before you know it, you got the evil eye amongst each other. Now you're looking at your brother and sister angry and mad, and they looking at you angry and mad, and all in all, it's based off of your environment that's making you angry and mad. It's based off of the lack of economic growth that's making you angry and mad, the lack of opportunity, the lack of being able to see a future in such devastated areas based off of being impoverished. And all this go back to what? Chattel slavery, redlining, Jim Crow laws, KKK lynchings, white supremacy running through the community with race riots and destroying our communities and destroying our economic growth in the form of our own businesses when we had small businesses in abundance. These are the realities to that. And in turn, this is the outcome of what has happened if you don't get no type of recourse, no type of restoration from the government when it comes to what's been done to our people. And thus, we sit in ghetto slums and hoods. Another abandoned building. It's everywhere you go. Everywhere. And it ain't really just, it's actual funding. The lack of careers, the lack of having any type of money to be able to fund and buy a house, to buy land. No opportunity, no career jobs like the colonizers. Then how do you make that money? And then what do you see as you walk? Driving by. More police driving by. Well, no, you got to survive somehow. So with nothing, you're going to do something. And if you're going to do something because you don't got nothing, guess what? They anticipating you by breaking the law. And what they call breaking the law. When you just trying to survive. You trying to eat. Because they know they control all the jobs. They control all the hiring. And if they choose not to hire you, what's the next outcome? You're going to stop eating. You're going to stop trying to take care of your children and your family. You go to the bank, can't get no loan. You look for grants, can't get no grants to open up your own small business. What are you going to do? See? Now your back is against the wall. Now you're in the trick and the trap. And guess what? They can capitalize on that and pretend that they don't know what's going on. And guess what? You're getting mass incarcerated. This is that reality. Don't get me wrong. Some more abandoned buildings right here. Right there. Those right there. Those structures. As we continue on, abandoned building right there. Why? Because once again, it goes back to that same situation. If you don't got no money to fund these things, then how do you open these things back up? How do you utilize these things if you can't afford these things? The building's right there. That one and the one across the street. You can walk all throughout our community and see that there's abandoned buildings everywhere. Everywhere you go, because the people is too poor to finance any of this stuff. And the colonizers that control the resources, they know it. They know this stuff. The key is for you to own it, accept it, and then do something about it. Because they're not going to try to do anything about it. They don't care. This is where they put you at. They know they put you here. That's that reality. And it's time for us to stop blaming ourselves and stop blaming the system that we under. The system that we under is controlled by white supremacy. The system that we under is controlled by the same colonizers' children who forefathers holocaust us and massacred and genocide our people and put us in the position that we in. That's why our communities look the way they look. There's no other reason. Because before the race riots, before all the chaos and carnage of white supremacy coming through our communities and doing what they did, we was building up our own communities. We was building up our own reality. That's how Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Streets all around America got destroyed. Because systematically, they came through and brought destruction to them and came up with reasons to do so that was okay for them to do it, feasible and logical for them to destroy them in their mindset, and never repaid a dime, not nothing. But as we continue on, sitting right there, abandoned building, an abandoned house, and as we continue on, it continues and continues. All these blowing, look at, see? Gives the colonies get something to do in our community. They get to run around with that dopamine and chase our people down. Go figure. More abandoned. I've been doing this for a minute now, and just doing it makes you depressed. Another one across the street. Do it, the more you just feel lower and lower and lower, as if there's nothing for you in your community. But see, look at the colonizers. They making big money off our community. Zoom, go get them. Go get them. The Niggros is doing something. Wow. Loving it. Loving it. Love our community, because that's what our community is set up for. That's what it's about. Chasing down our people and mass incarcerating them for impoverishment, for survival work, for being depressed and oppressed and traumatized on a regular basis. Look. Zoom. As many as they can get, making careers off of us. There go another abandoned. So you see, all these, no matter where you go, you're going to find nothing but abandoned buildings, up and down. That way, when you bring in Latinos and you give them an economic floor, and over there, right there between the bushes, give them an economic floor, and you bring them to our community, then guess what? They can finance and fund what we can't, because they're getting stimulus from the state, federal government, United States government, and we can't compete because we're not getting that help. We're not making it because we don't got what everybody else got. Here, abandoned building. On top of it, they go the man running to chase him down all throughout the community, making careers. All of them that's going by me, guess what? They don't look like me, but this is that reality. And we play a game and blame ourselves because our oppression is being maintained through the system, set up by the system, organized and controlled by the system, and somehow it's our fault? No. In the store, nothing happening. Then right across the street, a whole abandoned corner, because this is abandoned here, another one, another abandoned store here, and this on and on and on for hours. Another abandoned right after the store, that building, is that reality. And until we accept it in the sense of we're being oppressed and that we're being put in a position where our destruction is being maintained by the system of the colonizers' inheritors, thus that's why they have all the resources in their community. That's why their community look way better than us. That's why their communities, they get all the great jobs and careers based off of all the benefits that they get from the system being their system. It's controlled by them, so they uplift their people and not us. We'll never, ever, ever truly be able to liberate ourselves in a state of unifying and coming together as one nation, undivided, in order to deal with our issues that we all are suffering from, coming from the same system that been set up and set out to destroy and bring destruction to us to this day. That's just the reality to it. And you can lie to yourself, you can kid yourself, and you can play with your own mind when it comes to this truth. But the truth will only stand to be the truth. The truth will not be televised, but the truth will stand throughout existence. And regardless of how you feel, this is not about feelings. This is about what's going on and how the truth stands through all storms when it comes to this reality of what's going on with the Aboriginal Negroes of America. And with that, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But that is the question. You let me know. Peace.